the exploration of consciousness, a concept seemingly as familiar as our own breath yet profoundly enigmatic, necessitates a journey across philosophical and scientific landscapes. For centuries, philosophers have grappled with the hard problem of consciousness, the challenge of explaining how subjective experience arises from physical processes in the brain. Dualist theories, prevalent for much of history, posit a fundamental separation between mind and matter. Descartes' famous cogito, ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, exemplifies this view, suggesting a non-physical mind distinct from the physical body. This separation implied an immaterial soul, or spirit, that interacts with the physical world, a proposition that has faced considerable criticism due to its lack of a demonstrable mechanism for mind-body interaction. How can an immaterial substance influence a material one? The problem remains a persistent challenge for dualist perspectives. Materialist or physicalist approaches, in contrast, contend that consciousness is entirely a product of physical processes within the brain. This view, dominant in contemporary neuroscience, proposes that mental states are ultimately reducible to brain states. While it elegantly avoids the mind-body problem of dualism, materialism still faces significant hurdles in fully explaining the subjective nature of experience, the what it's like-ness of consciousness. As philosopher Thomas Nagel famously described it, neuroscientific investigations meticulously map brain activity associated with conscious experience, identifying neural correlates of consciousness, NCCs, specific brain patterns that reliably accompany conscious awareness. However, correlating brain activity with conscious experience does not necessarily equate to explaining it. The presence of an NCC does not definitively prove that the NCC causes consciousness. The relationship might be more complex, involving feedback loops and intricate interactions across multiple brain regions. The integrated information theory, IIT, a prominent contemporary theory, proposes that consciousness arises from the complexity and integration of information within a system. The more integrated and complex the information processing, the greater the level of consciousness. This theory attempts to quantify consciousness using a measure called Phi-4, Phi, which represents the amount of integrated information in a system. A higher Phi-4 indicates a higher level of consciousness. While IIT offers a compelling framework for understanding consciousness as an emergent property of complex systems, it too faces challenges. The practical measurement of Phi-4 remains a significant obstacle, and the theory's implications for the existence of consciousness in non-biological systems are debated. Global Workspace Theory, GWT, provides another influential perspective, suggesting that consciousness arises from a global workspace in the brain, a cognitive architecture where information is broadcast to various specialized processing modules. This broadcast allows for flexible and coordinated behavior, and it is this global access to information that is considered the hallmark of conscious experience. The theory is supported by evidence from various cognitive tasks, where the successful completion of a task correlates with the activation of the global workspace. However, GWT doesn't fully address the subjective, qualitative aspects of consciousness, the feeling of what it's like to experience something. Higher order theories, HOTS, offer a different perspective, arguing that consciousness requires not just the processing of information, but also the monitoring of that processing. Consciousness, in this view, is a higher order state that involves awareness of one's own mental states. This metacognitive ability, the capacity to think about thinking, is proposed as a key ingredient in conscious awareness. HOTS have the advantage of addressing the subjective aspect of consciousness, highlighting the self-referential nature of our experiences. However, they are vulnerable to the regress problem. If consciousness depends on higher order thought, then wouldn't those higher order thoughts also require higher order thoughts, leading to an infinite regress? Beyond the scientific and philosophical debates, the concept of consciousness profoundly impacts our understanding of self-awareness. Self-awareness, the capacity to recognize oneself as an individual, distinct from the environment and other individuals, is intricately linked to consciousness. While the exact relationship between consciousness and self-awareness is not fully understood, it is clear that they are deeply intertwined. Self-awareness manifests in various ways, including self-recognition, recognizing one's image in a mirror, introspection, examining one's own thoughts and feelings, and self-reflection, considering one's actions and their consequences. The development of self-awareness is a gradual process, beginning in early childhood. Infants initially lack a clear sense of self, but as they grow, they develop an understanding of their own body and its boundaries. The emergence of self-recognition is typically observed around 18 months of age, as demonstrated by the Rouge test, where a mark is placed on a child's face and their reaction to seeing it in a mirror is observed. The ability to recognize oneself as distinct from others is a critical milestone in cognitive and social development, paving the way for more complex forms of self-awareness. However, self-awareness is not solely a cognitive phenomenon. It is also deeply influenced by social and emotional factors, our relationships with others, shaping our understanding of ourselves. The study of self-awareness also intersects with the field of social psychology. The concept of self-presentation, the way individuals manage their self-image in social interactions, highlights the inherent social nature of self-awareness. We constantly construct and present different aspects of ourselves to different audiences, modifying our behavior to fit the social context. The perception of how others view us plays a significant role in shaping our self-concept. The desire for social approval and the avoidance of social rejection influence our self-presentation strategies, shaping our self-awareness in profound ways. Further complicating matters is the ongoing discussion of the extent of consciousness in other animals. While it is generally agreed that humans possess a high degree of consciousness and self-awareness, the question of consciousness in non-human animals remains a subject of intense debate. Numerous studies demonstrate evidence of self-recognition in various species, including primates, elephants, and dolphins, suggesting a level of self-awareness comparable to that of young children. However, the complexities of animal cognition make it difficult to definitively determine the level of consciousness in different species. Anthropomorphism, the tendency to attribute human characteristics to non-human animals, remains a constant challenge in interpreting animal behavior. The exploration of consciousness remains a vibrant and interdisciplinary field of inquiry, drawing upon insights from philosophy, neuroscience, psychology, and other areas. The diverse perspectives offered by dualism, materialism, IIT, GWT, and HOTS provide different lenses through which to understand this fundamental aspect of human experience. While a complete understanding of consciousness remains elusive, the ongoing dialogue between these different approaches promises to continue to refine and expand our knowledge of this fascinating and profound phenomenon. The implications extend beyond the theoretical, touching upon the very nature of selfhood, morality, and our place within the universe. The journey toward understanding consciousness is not merely an intellectual pursuit. It is an exploration of what it means to be human. The hard problem of consciousness, as coined by philosopher David Chalmers, highlights the seemingly insurmountable gap between the objective, physical workings of the brain and the subjective, qualitative nature of our conscious experience. We can meticulously map brain activity, identify neural correlates of consciousness, NCCs, and even build sophisticated computational models simulating aspects of cognitive function. Yet, this leaves us fundamentally unanswered. How do these physical processes give rise to the feeling of what it's like to see red, to hear a melody, to feel the sting of pain? This subjective aspect, often referred to as qualia, remains stubbornly resistant to purely physicalist explanations. Materialism, the dominant view in contemporary neuroscience, posits that consciousness is entirely a product of physical processes. This perspective, while offering a seemingly straightforward explanation for the origin of consciousness, faces significant challenges in accounting for qualia. If consciousness is simply a complex pattern of neural activity, then where does the subjective experience emerge from? Simply identifying correlations between brain states and conscious experiences, for example, observing consistent patterns of brain activity when a person reports seeing the color red does not explain why those neural patterns produce the subjective experience of redness. It's analogous to correlating the movement of a clock's hands with the passage of time without explaining what time itself is. Integrated information theory, IIT, proposed by Giulio Tononi, attempts to address this challenge by suggesting that consciousness arises from the complexity and integration of information within a system. The more interconnected and richly interacting the components of a system, the greater its level of consciousness. IIT proposes a quantitative measure of consciousness, phi, representing the amount of integrated information. Higher phi values indicate higher levels of consciousness. While IIT provides a potentially unifying framework for understanding consciousness in various systems, from simple organisms to complex brains, it faces criticism. The practical measurement of phi remains a significant challenge, and the theory's implications for consciousness in artificial systems are a subject of ongoing debate. Global Workspace Theory, GWT, championed by Bernard Bars, offers a different perspective, suggesting consciousness arises from a global workspace in the brain, a mechanism for broadcasting information to various specialized processing modules. This global access to information is what makes certain mental contents conscious. GWT finds support in experimental data showing correlations between conscious awareness and the activation of widespread brain networks. However, GWT, like other materialist theories, struggles to fully explain the subjective aspect of consciousness. While it illuminates the mechanisms of information processing that support conscious experience, it doesn't necessarily explain the feeling itself. Higher order theories, HOTS, offer a potentially more direct approach to the subjective nature of consciousness. These theories propose that consciousness requires not merely processing information, but also being aware of that processing, a kind of metacognition. Consciousness, in this view, involves a higher order mental state that represents or monitors a lower order mental state. For instance, we are consciously aware of a visual sensation because we have a higher order thought representing or monitoring that sensation. While HOTS address the subjective aspect by emphasizing self-referential awareness, they face the challenge of potential infinite regress. If consciousness requires higher order thoughts, then wouldn't those higher order thoughts also require higher order thoughts to be conscious? The hard problem of consciousness also extends to the question of its evolutionary emergence. How did subjective experience arise from the gradual evolution of increasingly complex nervous systems? Evolutionary explanations typically focus on the adaptive advantages of consciousness, such as enhanced decision-making, problem-solving, and social interaction. However, this leaves unexplained the jump from non-conscious processes to conscious experience. Why did natural selection favor the development of subjective experience? Was it an inevitable byproduct of increasing brain complexity, or did it confer a distinct selective advantage? The evolutionary trajectory of consciousness remains a profound mystery, inviting further investigation into the relationship between brain structure, function, and subjective experience. Further complicating the issue is the philosophical question of whether consciousness is even necessary for certain cognitive functions. Some researchers suggest that certain aspects of cognition, such as sophisticated problem-solving or even seemingly intentional behaviors, might be possible without subjective experience. This challenges the intuitive notion that consciousness is the essential ingredient for intelligent behavior, raising the intriguing possibility of zombies, beings who behave exactly like conscious beings but lack any subjective experience. The hypothetical existence of such zombies poses a significant challenge to our understanding of the relationship between consciousness and behavior. The exploration of the hard problem of consciousness continues to draw upon insights from various disciplines, including neuroscience, philosophy, cognitive science, and even physics. New technologies, such as brain imaging techniques with ever-increasing resolution, promise to further refine our understanding of the neural correlates of consciousness, though they cannot necessarily bridge the gap between the objective and subjective. Theoretical frameworks, such as IIT and GWT, continue to evolve, offering new perspectives on the nature of consciousness and its relationship to information processing. The ongoing dialogue between different perspectives reveals the profound complexity of the issue, underscoring the enduring challenge of fully explaining the subjective nature of human experience. The philosophical ramifications of resolving, or at least clarifying, the hard problem are immense. Our understanding of free will, moral responsibility, and the very nature of personhood are all deeply intertwined with our understanding of consciousness. If consciousness is merely an emergent property of physical processes, does this imply a deterministic view of human action, undermining the notion of free will? If consciousness is unique to humans, or a small subset of highly evolved species, how does this affect our moral obligations to other living beings? These questions highlight the crucial connection between the scientific investigation of consciousness and the broader philosophical and ethical considerations surrounding the human condition. Ultimately, confronting the hard problem is not merely a scientific endeavor. It is a quest to understand what it means to be conscious, to be self-aware, and to have the unique experience of existing in the world. The pursuit of an answer delves into the very essence of being human, an exploration that continues to captivate and challenge our understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. The implications are not just scientific, but philosophical, ethical, and profoundly personal, shaping our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. The search for answers continues, promising to illuminate the mysteries of consciousness and reshape our understanding of what it means to be human. Self-awareness, the capacity to recognize oneself as an individual, separate from the environment and other individuals, is a cornerstone of the human experience. It's more than simply being conscious. It's the conscious awareness of consciousness, a recursive reflection that sets us apart from many other living creatures. This capacity underpins our sense of self, our ability to understand our own emotions and motivations, and our capacity for complex social interactions. The development of self-awareness is a gradual process, unfolding across childhood and adolescence, shaped by both biological maturation and social interaction. Infants, while not possessing the sophisticated self-understanding of adults, show early signs of self-recognition. Studies using the Rouge test, where a dot of red is placed on an infant's nose and they are placed in front of a mirror, demonstrate a developmental trajectory. Younger infants often treat their reflection as another child, while older infants, typically around 18 months, begin to recognize the red dot on their own nose, indicating an emerging awareness of themselves as distinct individuals. This milestone isn't simply a matter of visual acuity. It reflects a growing understanding of their own physical self as separate from the external world. Beyond physical self-recognition, the development of self-awareness encompasses a broader understanding of one's mental states, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. This involves what psychologists term theory of mind, the ability to attribute mental states to oneself and others. This crucial cognitive leap allows us to understand that others have different perspectives, beliefs, and desires than our own, paving the way for empathy, deception, and complex social interaction. The development of theory of mind is intricately linked to the development of language, as language provides the tools for representing and communicating about mental states. The adolescent period brings further refinements to self-awareness. With the onset of puberty and increased cognitive capacity, teenagers begin to grapple with more abstract concepts related to self, including identity, values, and future aspirations. This period is characterized by heightened self-consciousness, as adolescents become acutely aware of how others perceive them. This self-consciousness can be both a source of anxiety and a driving force for self-exploration and identity formation. The search for meaning and purpose, a common theme in adolescence, underscores the deepening capacity for self-reflection and introspection. This period highlights the intertwined nature of self-awareness, social context, and the development of a coherent sense of self. Metacognition, often described as thinking about thinking, is an integral component of self-awareness. It encompasses the ability to monitor and regulate one's own cognitive processes, including planning, problem-solving, and learning. Individuals with strong metacognitive skills can effectively assess their own strengths and weaknesses, adapt their learning strategies, and evaluate the effectiveness of their own thought processes. This involves not only awareness of one's mental states, but also the ability to use this awareness to guide and control these states. Metacognitive skills are crucial for success in academic pursuits, as well as in various aspects of daily life, allowing for effective self-regulation and adaptation to changing circumstances. The development of metacognition, like self-awareness, is a gradual process that unfolds throughout childhood and adolescence. Children initially demonstrate limited metacognitive awareness, gradually developing more sophisticated abilities as they mature. This progression is influenced by factors such as education, social interaction, and exposure to challenging tasks requiring conscious reflection on one's own cognitive processes. Strategies such as self-questioning, reflecting on past experiences, and seeking feedback from others contribute to the growth of metacognitive skills. The interplay between self-awareness and metacognition is complex, and mutually reinforcing. Self-awareness provides the foundation for understanding one's own mental states, while metacognition provides the tools for monitoring and regulating these states. Individuals with strong self-awareness are better able to identify their own strengths and weaknesses, while individuals with strong metacognitive skills are better able to use this knowledge to improve their performance. This reciprocal relationship highlights the crucial role of both self-awareness and metacognition in cognitive development and effective functioning. However, self-awareness and metacognition are not always beneficial. Excessive self-consciousness can be debilitating, leading to anxiety, social inhibition, and impaired performance. The constant monitoring and evaluation of one's thoughts and actions can become a source of stress, hindering rather than enhancing performance. This highlights the importance of developing a healthy balance between self-awareness and self-acceptance, avoiding the pitfalls of excessive self-criticism and rumination. Furthermore, self-awareness can be influenced by cultural factors. Different cultures emphasize different aspects of self, leading to variations in self-perception and self-expression. Collectivist cultures, which prioritize group harmony and interdependence, tend to emphasize a more interdependent sense of self, while individualistic cultures, which emphasize individual autonomy and independence, tend to emphasize a more independent sense of self. These cultural differences influence how individuals perceive themselves in relation to others and how they navigate social interactions. The exploration of self-awareness extends into the realm of philosophical and spiritual inquiry. Throughout history, philosophers and religious thinkers have grappled with the nature of self, the relationship between mind and body, and the search for meaning and purpose. These inquiries often involve introspection, self-reflection, and a critical examination of one's own beliefs and values. The pursuit of self-knowledge, often viewed as a path to personal growth and fulfillment, highlights the enduring human fascination with the nature of self and the quest for a deeper understanding of the human condition. In summary, self-awareness and metacognition are essential aspects of the human experience, shaping our understanding of ourselves, our interactions with others, and our ability to navigate the complexities of life. These capacities are not static, but rather evolve over time, influenced by biological maturation, social interactions, and cultural context. Developing a healthy balance between self-awareness and self-acceptance is crucial for well-being and effective functioning. The exploration of self-awareness continues to be a central theme in psychology, philosophy, and spirituality, highlighting the enduring human quest for self-knowledge and a deeper understanding of the human condition. Understanding the intricate relationship between consciousness, self-awareness, and metacognition provides a richer comprehension of the remarkable complexity of the human mind and its capacity for self-reflection. The journey of understanding oneself is a lifelong process, marked by continuous growth and refinement of this profound capacity for self-awareness. This journey, while challenging at times, ultimately enriches our understanding of our place in the world and empowers us to lead more meaningful and Our exploration of consciousness and self-awareness thus far has focused largely on the waking state, the seemingly ordinary backdrop of our daily lives. However, the human mind possesses a remarkable plasticity, capable of shifting into dramatically different states of consciousness, offering unique windows into the nature of mind itself. These altered states, often characterized by changes in perception, thought, emotion, and sense of self, provide fertile ground for understanding the underlying mechanisms of consciousness and their relationship to self-awareness. Dreams, meditation, and psychedelic experiences each offer distinct perspectives on this fascinating landscape. Dreams, those nightly narratives unfolding in the theater of our minds, have captivated human imagination for millennia. While their precise function remains a topic of ongoing debate, dreams offer a compelling glimpse into the unconscious processes shaping our thoughts and behaviors. The surreal and often illogical nature of dreams challenges our usual sense of reality and linear time, demonstrating the mind's capacity to create coherent narratives even in the absence of external sensory input. The vivid imagery, emotions, and symbolic language of dreams suggest a powerful, internally generated stream of consciousness operating independently from our waking awareness. Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory, while controversial in many aspects, emphasized the role of dreams as a window into the unconscious mind, revealing repressed desires, anxieties, and unresolved conflicts. Contemporary neuroscience, while rejecting some of Freud's interpretations, confirms the intense neural activity during REM sleep, the phase most associated with vivid dreaming. Brain imaging studies reveal patterns of activity that differ significantly from those observed during wakefulness, further highlighting the distinctive character of dream consciousness. The study of dreams raises profound questions about the nature of reality and the self. In dreams, our sense of self can be fragmented, distorted, or even absent. We may experience events, emotions, and interactions that seem utterly real, only to awaken and realize their fantastical nature. This fluidity of self-perception in dreams challenges the notion of a fixed, unitary self, suggesting that the sense of self is more malleable and context-dependent than we might intuitively assume. Furthermore, the irrational logic and bizarre imagery of dreams suggest that the constraints of waking consciousness, such as logic and causality, may be less fundamental to consciousness itself than we typically assume. The ability of the mind to construct and experience coherent narratives in the absence of external sensory input highlights the internal, generative capacity of consciousness. The exploration of dreams, therefore, provides crucial insight into the flexibility and potential of consciousness beyond the limitations of our waking experience. Meditation, a practice dating back thousands of years, provides another avenue into altered states of consciousness. Through focused attention on a specific object, such as the breath or a mantra, or through cultivating non-judgmental awareness of thoughts and sensations, meditation aims to quiet the mind's incessant chatter and access deeper levels of consciousness. Different meditative techniques, ranging from mindfulness meditation to transcendental meditation, produce varied effects, but common features include changes in brainwave patterns, decreased heart rate and blood pressure, and altered perceptions of time and space. Neuroimaging studies have shown that long-term meditation practice can lead to structural and functional changes in the brain, including increases in gray matter density in regions associated with attention, self-awareness, and emotional regulation. The experience of meditation often involves a shift in the relationship between the self and the observing consciousness. The ability to observe thoughts and emotions without judgment fosters a sense of detachment from these mental processes, reducing their grip on our sense of self. This detachment can be deeply liberating, reducing feelings of anxiety and stress, and fostering a sense of equanimity. The experience of a unified consciousness, a sense of interconnectedness with the world, is also frequently reported by long-term meditators. This perspective challenges the Cartesian dualism of mind and body, suggesting a more integrated and holistic view of self and reality. Meditation, therefore, provides a powerful technique for cultivating self-awareness and transforming our relationship with our thoughts, emotions, and our sense of self within the larger context of the universe. Psychedelic substances, such as psilocybin, LSD, and ayahuasca, induce dramatic alterations in consciousness, often described as mystical experiences or ego dissolution. These experiences involve profound changes in perception, thought, emotion, and sense of self, challenging the boundaries of ordinary consciousness. The subjective accounts of psychedelic experiences often involve a heightened sense of sensory awareness, vivid imagery, alterations in time perception, and feelings of intense connection with nature or the cosmos. While the specific mechanisms of these substances are still under investigation, they appear to act on neurotransmitter systems involved in mood, perception, and cognition. Recent research indicates that carefully controlled settings, combined with trained guides, can lead to beneficial outcomes, such as reductions in anxiety and depression, and increased creativity and self-compassion. The implications of psychedelic experiences for our understanding of consciousness are profound. The reports of ego dissolution or loss of self during these experiences challenge the traditional view of a fixed, unitary self. The experience of a unified consciousness, a sense of interconnectedness with all things, suggests that the boundaries of self are more fluid and context-dependent than we usually assume. The altered perception of reality raises fundamental questions about the nature of reality and the relationship between mind and perception. These experiences highlight the plasticity of the brain and the capacity of consciousness to transcend its ordinary boundaries, providing a unique window into the potential of the human mind. The study of altered states of consciousness, dreams, meditation, and psychedelic experiences offers valuable insights into the nature of consciousness and self-awareness. By studying these states, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the remarkable flexibility and plasticity of the human mind. The subjective experiences reported in these states often challenge our conventional understanding of self, reality, and the limits of consciousness, providing a rich tapestry of evidence that pushes the boundaries of our knowledge and challenges our preconceived notions about the nature of the human experience. While the scientific investigation of these states is ongoing, and interpretations can vary, one thing remains clear. The exploration of altered states of consciousness is crucial for a more complete understanding of the human mind and its potential. The varied perspectives offered by these altered states, though seemingly disparate, converge on a single, profound truth: the capacity for consciousness to transcend the limitations of ordinary experience, unveiling deeper layers of self-awareness and a richer understanding of our place in the world. This further enhances our understanding of the dynamic interplay between consciousness, self, and the vast, ever-shifting landscape of experience. The journey of self-discovery, therefore, extends far beyond the limitations of our waking awareness, into the boundless realms of altered states of being. The more we understand these states, the more we understand ourselves. The preceding exploration of altered states of consciousness, dreams, meditation, and psychedelic experiences has provided a glimpse into the remarkable plasticity and potential of the human mind. However, our understanding of consciousness remains incomplete. This section delves into the cutting edge of consciousness studies, examining the role of emerging research and technologies in unraveling the mysteries of subjective experience. The development of advanced neuroimaging techniques, combined with the rapid advancements in artificial intelligence, AI, is transforming our ability to study the neural correlates of consciousness, offering unprecedented opportunities to explore its underlying mechanisms. Neuroimaging techniques, such as functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, and electroencephalography, EEG, have revolutionized our understanding of brain function. fMRI, by measuring blood flow in the brain, allows researchers to identify areas that are active during specific cognitive processes, including those related to consciousness. While fMRI offers high spatial resolution, pinpointing activity within specific brain regions, its temporal resolution is limited, making it challenging to precisely track the rapid fluctuations in neural activity associated with conscious experience. EEG, on the other hand, offers excellent temporal resolution, capturing brainwave patterns with millisecond precision. However, its spatial resolution is lower, making it more difficult to pinpoint the precise location of neural activity within the brain. The combination of these techniques, along with other advanced methods like magnetoencephalography, MEG, and near-infrared spectroscopy, NIRS, provides a more comprehensive picture of brain activity. Researchers are increasingly using these techniques in conjunction to create more detailed and nuanced maps of neural activity during conscious and unconscious states. For instance, studies comparing brain activity during wakefulness, sleep, and anesthesia are revealing the neural signatures of different levels of consciousness, shedding light on the minimal neural requirements for conscious awareness. This research is not only identifying brain regions crucial for conscious experience, but also mapping the complex interplay between various brain areas that give rise to subjective experience. Furthermore, the development of sophisticated computational models, often incorporating AI algorithms, is enhancing our ability to analyze the vast amounts of data generated by these neuroimaging techniques. These models can identify subtle patterns in neural activity that may be missed by human observers, revealing previously hidden correlations between brain activity and conscious experience. These computational approaches allow researchers to test complex hypotheses about the neural mechanisms of consciousness, advancing our understanding beyond what is possible through purely descriptive analysis. For instance, AI-powered algorithms are increasingly used to identify predictive markers of consciousness, potentially leading to improved diagnostic tools for disorders of consciousness such as coma and beyond neuroimaging. Other technologies are contributing to the advancement of consciousness studies. For example, transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS, allows researchers to non-invasively stimulate specific brain regions, temporarily disrupting or enhancing their activity. By systematically stimulating different brain areas and observing the effects on conscious experience, researchers can investigate the causal role of particular brain regions in conscious awareness. This technique has yielded valuable insights into the neural circuits underlying visual perception, attention, and self-awareness. The controlled manipulation of brain activity provided by TMS complements the observational approaches of neuroimaging, providing a more complete understanding of cause and effect in consciousness. Artificial intelligence, a field that is rapidly evolving, is also playing an increasingly significant role in consciousness studies. While the question of whether AI can achieve consciousness remains a subject of intense debate, AI systems provide powerful tools for modeling and simulating aspects of consciousness. By creating models that exhibit behaviors associated with consciousness, such as learning, problem-solving, and self-reflection, researchers can explore the computational requirements for these capacities. These models can also be used to test hypotheses about the underlying mechanisms of consciousness, generating predictions that can be tested experimentally. One of the most promising areas of AI research related to consciousness involves the development of artificial neural networks, which are inspired by the structure and function of the brain. These networks, capable of learning complex patterns and making predictions based on those patterns, are showing remarkable abilities in tasks that once seemed uniquely human. The development of increasingly sophisticated artificial neural networks has led to a renewed interest in connectionist models of consciousness, which posit that consciousness arises from the complex interactions between numerous interconnected neurons. The successful modeling of complex cognitive functions using these networks lends credence to this hypothesis, suggesting that consciousness may be an emergent property of a sufficiently complex neural network. However, the use of AI in consciousness research is not without challenges. The hard problem of consciousness, as it is known in philosophy, remains stubbornly resistant to resolution. This problem refers to the difficulty of explaining how subjective experience arises from physical processes in the brain. Even the most sophisticated AI systems, which can exhibit remarkably human-like behaviors, may lack the subjective, qualitative experience that is a hallmark of consciousness. The creation of truly conscious AI remains a significant hurdle, and the debate about whether it is even possible continues. This lack of a complete understanding of consciousness presents inherent limitations on the usefulness of AI models, and caution must be exercised when drawing conclusions from AI simulations about the nature of human consciousness. Nevertheless, AI is revolutionizing our ability to analyze and interpret vast datasets, providing unprecedented power for understanding the complexities of the brain. AI algorithms are being applied to analyze EEG and fMRI data, identifying patterns and correlations that were previously undetectable. This has significantly enhanced our ability to identify specific brain states associated with altered states of consciousness, such as those induced by meditation or psychedelic drugs. The development of AI-driven diagnostic tools is also showing great promise, potentially offering significant advancements in early detection and treatment of disorders of consciousness. AI's analytical power is undeniably enhancing our understanding of the complex relationship between brain activity and conscious experience. The future of consciousness studies promises to be a period of immense discovery. As neuroimaging techniques become more sophisticated and AI models become more powerful, our understanding of the neural correlates of consciousness is likely to advance at an unprecedented rate. The integration of these technological advances with philosophical and psychological insights is likely to lead to a more comprehensive understanding of the nature of consciousness, its origins, and its relationship to the physical world. The exploration of consciousness is not only a scientific endeavor, but also a philosophical and existential one. By combining the rigor of scientific investigation with the depth of philosophical reflection, we can hope to make substantial progress towards understanding this most fundamental aspect of the human experience, providing new answers to age-old questions about the nature of self, reality, and our place in the universe. The ongoing research and advancements in technology offer a beacon of hope for further unraveling the mysteries of consciousness, illuminating the profound aspects of human existence. The journey towards a more complete understanding is ongoing, fueled by the curiosity and dedication of researchers across multiple disciplines, driven by a shared desire to comprehend the enigmatic nature of consciousness and self-awareness.